lovely people. Thank you for watching my video. My name is Roel. I am a health and nutrition coach and a diabetes practitioner based near Manchester in the UK. And I post these videos sort of weekly. I try to do it weekly just to motivate you to be as healthy as you can be. And today I want to talk about protein because protein is important. It's actually non-negotiable. There are many different ways to be healthy and many different approaches, and maybe you choose to be a carnivore or go on a keto diet or be a vegan, but there's something that we all need to be healthy. We all need protein to thrive. It's not negotiable. And especially if you're getting a little bit older, over 40, and you're starting to notice some changes, maybe your weight is creeping up, maybe your energy's dipping, your blood glucose levels are going up, your blood pressure, then it's even more important to make sure that your body gets everything it needs to thrive. And today I'll explain why protein can help you with that. I'll show you how much roughly you need. I mean, with nutrition and anything really, it's hardly an exact science, but I'll give you an idea, and I'll give you some simple ideas on how to get to that much protein in your diet, because I'll be honest with you, it's not always easy to get the required amount of protein in a diet, but I'll give you some ideas, and then you can have a go at including it into your diet. First of all, why is it important? Why do we even need protein? It's not just for bodybuilders and athletes. You may hear people who like to go to the gym talk a lot about proteins, and maybe they have protein shakes. But it's essential for everyone, like I said. And why is that? Well, protein is required for many of our bodily functions, and it can really help with weight management. It fills you up and it keeps you feeling fuller for longer. So it really helps to reduce cravings. If your body gets all the protein it needs, then it's less likely that you're going to crave snacks in between meals. So that's why protein is helpful for weight management. Protein is also good for blood glucose management, because protein will slow down how quickly sugar is absorbed in your bloodstream. And when you combine protein with carbohydrates, especially if you eat the protein first, so have chicken with your rice or Greek yogurt with berries, then it helps to prevent those big blood glucose spikes and crashes. And that's really important when you're trying to avoid type 2 diabetes, when you don't want to become insulin resistant. Protein is also really important for hormone production. Your body needs amino acids from protein to make hormones, and hormones regulate nearly all your bodily functions. So it's super important to have good hormone production. For example, insulin is a hormone, the thyroid hormones, even the hormones that control your hunger and fullness. They all rely on sufficient protein intake. Another benefit from protein is your muscle maintenance. Muscle tissue, as I've explained in a previous video, is super important for your metabolism, for your blood glucose management, because these muscle cells take a lot of glucose from the blood. And after 40, unfortunately, we start to lose muscle tissue. That's normal, it's an aging process, it's called sarcopenia, but less muscle means slower metabolism, weaker bones, and also higher risk of falls and injuries later in life. So if we take in enough protein in a diet and we combine that with resistance exercise, and you can look back at one of my previous videos where I talk about the importance of that resistance exercise, then this can really help you to maintain and protect that muscle tissue and keep you strong and healthy. So, long story short, protein is a real hero when it comes to your health, especially as we grow older. Now, how much protein do we need? there are a lot of theories about that, and if you would go into the gym and ask the gym bunnies in front of the mirrors how much protein do you think we need, then they might have some formulas about that, and they could be to do with lean body weight. So they have maybe a certain amount of grams that they think you need for a lean body weight. Now, it's not an exact science, like I said, but the old recommendation that you would hear a lot is around 0.8 to 1 gram per total kilogram of total body weight, per kilogram of total body weight. But that's actually a bare minimum to prevent deficiency. So we really need a little bit more than that. That 0.8 gram per kilo of total body weight is not really enough to for you to stay strong, to manage your weight, to control your blood glucose, and just generally support your metabolic health. Most experts now say we should aim for around 1.2 to 1.5 grams of protein per kilogram of total body weight, especially over 40. So to put it simply, if you weigh 70 kilos, then you're looking at around 85 to 105 grams of protein per day. And that may not mean anything to you unless you know how much protein is in certain foods. And I will give you like a few examples. For example, 1 egg is 6 grams of protein. And when we think about protein-rich food, we're talking mainly, you can get proteins from animal food and from plant food. But it is fair to say that the protein from animals is more easily absorbed by our bodies. But that's not to say that you can't be healthy eating plant protein, but it's just something to bear in mind. Ideally, you have a combination of the two. The best source of plant protein would be soybeans, and 1 cup of soybeans would probably give you about 30 grams of protein. So earlier I said between 85 105 grams of protein per day if you weigh around 70 kilos. So we're talking 30 grams per meal if you have 3 meals a day. So how do you get 30 grams of protein in each meal? I would say lunch and dinner is not that difficult because, like I said, 1 cup of soybeans, 1.5 to 2 cups of other pulses if you don't want to eat animal protein. Then things like any types of meat or fish, roughly, I mean, you could look it up in something like MyFitnessPal, exactly how many grams of protein would be in all these different types of meats and fish. But roughly you could say that if you have a recommended amount of protein in a meal, protein-rich food, the size and the thickness of the palm of one hand, so a piece of meat or fish that size would probably give you around 30 grams of protein. So you can easily imagine how you can make a lunch or dinner containing that much protein, because you could make a stir fry and have that much fish or meat in the stir fry, prawns or chicken. And for lunch you could easily have some tuna on a salad. Breakfast tends to be a little bit more tricky, but I do have a few ideas about that. And of course, if you can't quite get to the 30 grams in breakfast, then you can always add a protein-rich snack. So, for example, nuts and seeds are fairly high in protein. Cheese is a rich source of protein as well. Greek yogurt for breakfast is a good idea. You need about 1.5 cup of Greek yogurt, so that is a fairly decent amount of full-fat Greek yogurt to get a decent amount of protein. It won't even be quite 30 grams, but if you then add a sprinkle of nuts and seeds, then you can get to close to 30 grams. You could have eggs, of course, 6 grams of protein per egg. I always have 4 eggs for breakfast, which most people find funny. But it's not high in calories. It's hardly any carbohydrates or no carbohydrates, full of nutrition. So it is my favorite breakfast. It keeps you feeling full till lunchtime. I just have 4 scrambled eggs. So that would give me then 24 grams of protein. Now you could then add, if you wanted to get all the 30 grams, you could add then some other food that contains protein, like some salmon, maybe some smoked salmon. Cottage cheese is also full of protein, very good source of protein. 1 cup of cottage cheese will give you about 30 grams of protein. So there are loads of recipes. I think last year was the year of cottage cheese on TikTok, or so I hear. I personally don't have a TikTok account, but you can find loads of recipes with cottage cheese. You can even make pancakes with cottage cheese and egg and a few oats, and these recipes are easy to find online. You could also make a protein smoothie. If you use a protein powder, that's a quick and easy way to get more protein in your diet. Whey protein would be easier or better absorbed by the body than plant proteins, but you can also get pea protein powder and add that to a smoothie. 1 scoop of protein powder is normally about 20 grams of protein for most of the protein powders that you buy, so 1.5 scoop would get you to the 30 grams, but of course you can also add other things to the smoothie that provide you with protein, like peanut butter, things like that. Lunch, any sort of salad with a source of protein, a salad with tuna, salad with chicken. Then you can also use cottage cheese to make like a cottage cheese bowl where you add maybe cucumber, cherry tomatoes. So lunch and dinner I don't think is too challenging, as long as you have either a good amount of pulses, or you have a piece of meat or fish the size and the thickness of the palm of one hand, or maybe use eggs if you didn't already have them for breakfast. An omelette is a great idea because you can then have 3 or 4 eggs in an omelette. You can add some cheese to even add some more protein. So that gives you some ideas. Tofu, if you don't want to eat meat, is also a good source of protein. So there are lots of options, but I think it's a good idea when you plan your meals to start with the protein. Think about which protein is going to be the protein in my meal, and then add your vegetables, and then think about whether you want to add starches. And normally I don't add any starches, but of course you can if you want to. But for me, it just adds more carbohydrates, not a lot of nutrition, so I don't tend to have those a lot. But that's how you can have great healthy meals that taste great, they keep you full, energized, and they will support your metabolic health goals. So make protein the focus of your meals and then build the rest around it. And like I said earlier, prioritize eating those proteins as well, because if you have a meal that contains some starches as well, if you eat that protein first and your vegetables as well that contain fiber, then that meal will not have such a great impact on your blood glucose levels. Always have easy options of protein handy in the fridge or in your bag. Now, obviously, don't put fresh fish and meat in your bag, but you can carry some raw nuts. That's a good source of protein. But in the fridge, keep some boiled eggs, maybe some cooked meat or fish, smoked fish, Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, any other cheese. Have some protein powder, so you always have options. I love to make smoothies with kefir. I buy the kefir in the Polish section of the supermarket because it's cheaper, and you just get a large bottle of kefir, and you can add that as the basis for your smoothies, and then you can add a protein powder, half banana, avocado, some spinach, or whatever you want, some berries, whatever you fancy in your smoothie. You can also, of course, batch cook basic sauces or casseroles that contain the meat. Then you have the heart of the meal that contains those proteins, and of course easy access and also cheaper plant proteins to add to your meals. And remember, you don't have to be perfect. If there are days where you don't reach your 90 grams or 100 grams or 105, depending on your body weight, of protein, then don't worry. The best you can do is to try. It's not about being perfect. It's about being consistent. Try and get enough in your diet. So that's it. This is what I explained why protein is can be such a game changer for your health, especially as you get older. We talked about how much you need, and I've given you a few ideas. Now, up to you to see what you do with that, and maybe that could be your weekly goal for this week. I always encourage you to set yourself one little goal for the week ahead, and make it easy, make it something that doesn't feel difficult, that doesn't create resistance. You want to create consistency, so make it easy. What is it that you're going to do this week that is going to help you to get as healthy as you can be? And I'm starting to do the webinars again. I had a little break, but my next webinar will be on how to be a healthy human, and that is going to be on Thursday the 8th of May in the evening, 8 o'clock UK time, and it's free. I will leave the details on how to register below this video, so I would love to see you there, but if not, then thank you so much for watching. If you found it useful, then give me the thumbs up and maybe even subscribe to my channel. I would really get excited about that. And good luck with your health goals this week, and see you next time. Love you lots. Bye.